You think you know about relationships, but you're wrong. Listen, there's no magic bullet. I'm teaching life skills.
When you're sick, you need medicine. It don't always taste good, but it'll get you better. You need this medicine. It ain't gonna always taste good, but this is what you need. Men and women, bottom line, we need to have the conversation. Your partner wants to give up control, but only if you know how to drive. This is about being the best you could ever be, whoever you are. I don't care if you're a man, a woman, LGBTQ, space alien. I'll save anybody. I don't care. I'll teach a hedgehog how to have a threesome.
What do you mean by that?
Look, you don't have to listen to me, but you're wrong.
Listen, I know I'm great. And I know you're thinking, Dante, there's no way I could be like you. But you could be me, you know why?
Because you know who I was? Before I was me, I was you.
Man School 202.
Better hear what I've got to say because you won't get it again.
I'm not an alpha male. I'm not a beta male either. I'm just a better man. Well, put your happiness first, because if you don't, they won't. Yo, GYBB, get your balls back. WWDD, what would Dante do? The sexual revolution is being podcasted. Welcome. Happy Sunday. Good to be here. Good to be seen, all that good shit. Just good to be here. That's all I can say. Happy Sunday. There's a few things I need to get into. Definitely need to get into because of the fact that we need to understand some things. And some of those things are perpetually, I say them often, but even when I say them often, I feel like I feel like people are not listening. Either that, if they're not listening, then they're in a situation where they're hearing what they want to hear, and I can't allow that. I don't want to be the person who gives misinformation, because I owe you better. I owe you guys better. I think more highly of myself, and I just wouldn't. I wouldn't do that. So it's interesting. I was doing a consultation today, and I realized that. First of all, let me shout out to everybody who's in the comments, real quick. Shut Up is in the building. Thank you, bro. Anybody who's in the comment, if you hear me, please put a thumbs up in the comments, please. Thumbs up in the comments if you can. Just want to make sure y'all hear me good before I get into it. But I often get into shut up in the building, curated vibrations. What up, kid? Just shouting out to the regulars. Matt, all of the above. What's going on? Let's see who else is in the building. Shout everybody out real quick before I get into it, you know. Jonathan Cleofat in the building. Anthony Albert Schweitzer. Shut Up. Thank you for the $2. Thank you for the super chat. Appreciate you. LeBetty in the building. LeBetty or Lebetto. Yes, sir. Billy Flicks in the building. Shout out to all the regulars. And man, thank you, Shut Up, for putting up. You didn't shut up, you put up. So I appreciate that. Don't forget the Cash App is in the building. Let me get that up real quick, fast, in a hurry. But I want to explain something that when I talk about the 5 bricks, laying 5 bricks, what it does is a fundamental thing that clears out all the crap that's already there, the mistakes that you make in terms of social interaction, and it gives you an opportunity to have a great foundation to work from. And I've worked on this for many years. I've worked on this for many, many years of just perfecting it so that it affects the things that I want to affect. And anybody who is altering that, doing their version of that, it ain't gonna work. You're just not gonna get the results that you want, because I've worked this out in a way that it absolutely is perfected. I talk about it a lot on the Patreon. If y'all want to support, you can always support patreon.com/manschool202. Also, don't forget to like and subscribe on all the channels and follow and share and all that stuff and all the clips that I'm putting out. Also, don't forget the Cash App. If I've helped you and you want to support the show, please Cash App me at $ Dante Nero. And don't forget the one-on-one consultations real quick. So I just wanted to say that there's so much of this that I have perfected throughout the years. There's a reason why it's 5 bricks a day. There's a reason why it's 7 days a week. There's a reason why it's why in the first phase of it you're not allowed to get a number. All of these things have specific reasons, and I'm gonna go. I want to go over it a little bit, or if anybody has any questions. And if you can, Terrell Rico, what's going on? Billy Flick, what's going on? Badman Sanyu, what up? What's up? There's a reason why everything is timed out and worked out into a certain dosage, because I've experimented with them, and this is the sweet spot. So let me go over the first phase of laying the 5 bricks. I've said this 100 times. I don't know how you can get it wrong, but I will explain it again because I'm trying to have empathy for people who don't pay attention. First and foremost, shout out to all my Q Omega brothers out there. Today is our Founders Day. So I just wanted to shout out to them wearing the colors. We got the background is purple. Well, it's purple. It's supposed to be purple, but depending on the lighting, it's blue, but it's purple. My today's my Founders Day, when my frat was founded in 1911. So shout out to that. Clay, what's going on, baby? Thank you so much for the $10 in the chat, in the Cash App. Thank you for supporting. I appreciate it. I appreciate you. Thanks for keeping it being legit. We got a call, so let me make sure we get this.
VTEAM remedial massage.
I don't know what. Hello? Hello?
Hello?
Yeah, hello. Where you calling from? Who am I speaking with? Lost him. I think he was calling me from overseas. I'm hoping that goes through. If not, call back. So I just want to say there's a reason why there's 5 bricks. There's a reason why it's 7 days. Hold on, let me see if we can get this again.
VTEAM remedial massage.
Hello, where you calling from, bro?
Hey, Dante. It's Anthony from Melbourne, Australia.
Yeah, what's going on, Anthony? How are you, bro?
Yeah, going good, man. Going good. I hear you talking about the bricks, and since we're doing the consultations, I figured I'd give you a call, and we'll go through a little bit.
Okay, now here's the thing, Anthony. So Anthony's calling from Australia, and I've done several consultations with Anthony. Anthony, how is your progress? How's your progress going? Just to anybody who wants to sign up and is a little bit apprehensive about signing up and getting into it.
Man, it's really foundational with what we're doing. So
Right.
I train martial arts. I've competed martial arts for a long time.
Yeah.
It's like just practicing the basics. It
Right.
just really smooths things out. You know, like if I'm go to training, I do my warm up. I practice my punches or my takedowns, and you just practice the basics over and over again.
Right.
And
The repetition of it.
As silly as the repetition, and as silly as it seems, anything complicated, like it just comes back to the bricks. Like if I have any anxiety, the bricks and the foundations just really lay things straight. And
now here's the thing with Anthony, and Anthony and I we've been consulting for a while, and Anthony has a rock head. Like Anthony kind of, I'll tell him to do something, he does something else, and we argue a little bit, but it's all love. And I get upset when you're not following the directions, because ultimately it slows down your progress, you know. And right, and Anthony and I, to fully being candid about it, you and I have gone back and forth. Well, we got into it a little bit because of the fact that you weren't doing what I was telling you. You were doing some version of it otherwise. And what happens is, when you do that, what ultimately happens is you end up stunting your growth. And one of the reasons why it is, it's funny because I try to explain it in a way that everybody else can explain. I was consulting with a musician today, and I'm actually trying to teach myself how to play drums. I'm not trying to teach I have a guy who's helping me, but on a basic level, in order to get the timing, you learn something very simple, and then you practice it over and over and over again until you're so tired of doing it that you don't even have to think about doing it, that the timing happens automatically, because you're hitting that bass drum on a 1 and a 3, and your snare hand is going on a 2 and 4, and then your left hand is going on a 1, 2, 3, 4, and you come. But you have to, in order to have that coordination, you have to practice that so many times until it gets comfortable. And so I always get situations where especially new clients, they always want to do a portion of it. So I'm going to refer this to something a little old school. I'm showing my age. But back in the days, if you got an STD like chlamydia, right, the doctor would give you 7 pills. You had to take 1 pill every day. I think it's different now. The drug is now. But at the time, if you took 5 of the 7 pills, right, and then you didn't finish the medicine, what would happen was that the STD would pop up again. You would, and if you was smashing more than one person, you just would be giving each other the STD back and forth. You have to do the thing in its entirety. One of the reasons why I tell you to do 5 a day every day is because I don't want you to take a day off, because the day you take a day off is the period of time where you start to lose your confidence. You gain your confidence because this is something that you do every day. Would you agree with that, Anthony?
Yeah.
And when you don't do it every day, all of a sudden you feel funny because you're not practicing every day. Now, there may come... Go ahead, I'm sorry.
Yeah, one thing that the bricks has done for me is it's given me a benchmark to kind of see how my routine has been across the day. Because I work according to appointments, and sometimes, I do massage, so my appointments can go up to an hour and a half, essentially. So if I'm busy all day working, and then I just go to training straight after. But if I only see all male clients in one day, for example, I have to make the effort to make sure that any female that I've come across, that I've actually interacted with them, or purposefully gone out and socialized a little bit extra because of that. And just through that, I've realized I've really just put myself in a bit of a hole or a bit of a cave and being a little bit isolated at times.
Yeah. Well, also what I find sometimes is when guys don't do the full measure of what I'm asking them to do, or they do a version of it, we usually end up in some kind of blowout because I'm like, I don't care. I don't care what your fear is. I don't care what your concern is. I'm telling you to do something. If you were training for the Olympics in any sport, you got to do what your coach tells you, and you do it all in its entirety. And if you don't do it, the only person it hurts is you. So I appreciate it, Anthony. But Anthony I'm proud of you, Anthony. I mean, I feel like you're on track now, and you're not wavering off the center line, because we've had so many talks about how you can't waver off that, because you might as well not do it. And I've told plenty of clients, look, if you're not going to do what I'm telling you to do, keep your money, save your money. And what reason why I say save your money is because if you're not going to do it, I don't want to waste my time with somebody that I can't help. I know maybe that sounds a little cold, but the reality is I would rather have 5 clients that say Dante Nero changed my life than to have 30 clients that say, it was all right. You know, it wasn't for me, this, that, and the other. If you don't get any success from what I'm doing, I make it clear that it's your fault. And I'd rather give you your money back than be in a situation where I'm taking money and creating bad press, because credibility this goes right back to the same thing that I teach you all the time, Anthony. Credibility is one of the most important principles. So if I'm not serious about helping you, if I tell you I'm here to support you and I'm here to help you, and I don't do that, then I'm off base. I'm on the outside. I'm not doing what I'm supposed to do, because I'm telling you the truth, and I'm showing up to help you whenever I can. You know, and for you to think that I would allow you to not let me be authentic, credible, or empathetic, I'm just not going to let that happen. Nobody is more important than that. Not the money, not the people. I don't care how close I am. I'm just not going to let you. I'm not going to let you get me off my grind, if that makes sense.
Yeah. The other thing that the Bricks has done is actually it's actually improved my situation as well in terms of my career.
Yeah, well, it does, because
I've managed to make more contacts. I got a commission increase as well, just through what I've been doing, and having a chat with the owners and all that. So
it does it on and you're able to communicate with a different level of ease that you never did. Anthony, thank you for calling, bro.
Yeah.
All right, brother. Later.
Take it easy. Bye.
Yeah, that's all the way from Australia. I had some calls from Madrid today. I mean, I love it because we're going international. You know, we're really starting to go international. But it's important to do the whole thing in its entirety. Most of the people on this live, everybody who's on this live, and anybody who's familiar with my content, they are making, and they're all here because they're making an attempt to be honest, to be authentic. I'm not saying that everybody here is on their way, but I know for a fact that everybody on here who's become a better person at one point in time were liars, told lies, little white lies, or lies not to hurt people's feelings, or lies with the intent on not ending up, you know, I don't want a problem. I don't want any confrontation. So you lie for that. You may not lie because men perceive a lie as, well, I'm trying to steal your girl, or I'm trying to take your money, or I'm trying to do something underhanded. But what they don't understand is credibility. If you are 90% trustworthy, understand that is the definition of a liar. So any deviation from those 3 principles is what eats away at your ability to be confident. Because when you operate in the context of those things, nobody can, you're never worried about being exposed. That's the first thing, because there's nothing to expose. You're always telling the truth anyway. So you're not wondering what story you told this one, or what story, or if you showed up, or you are in the moment at all the time. And people feel a level of comfort because of that, because you're in the moment. I've said this 100 times. If you have no credibility, and maybe you don't tell the quote unquote big lies, but you tell the little lies, how does your woman, your wife, your lady, your child believe you when you have shown to have no credibility? And that goes even for the little lies, the little white lies. You don't want to hurt somebody's feelings, or you don't want somebody ask you a question, and because you don't want to stir the pot, you're not honest. People will always respect the honesty over anything else. The only people that don't respect the honesty are other liars. Understand this. You're creating an environment where people can lie to each other. Like, if I've said this 100 times, my truth sharpens your honesty. If I'm so honest that you know that I'm always straight up, right? It does. If you're a liar, or your intention is to be misrepresenting, or to be conniving, or have a sidebar or some shit, you're not gonna mess with me, because the minute you say something that is contradictory, I'm calling it out. Yo, what do you mean by that? I mean, y'all have seen that. Anybody who's been on this live before has seen me do it live, in person, when there's an incongruency between what somebody's saying and what they're doing, and I always catch it, right, chat? I always catch it. Robert, what's going on? Clay, the dark one, what's up? Brian Lorenzo, what's up? Daniel Tars, man, Tazinski? I think that's it. I hope that's right, man. Yes, right. It is. Daniel, let me put this up. This is an interesting comment. Daniel Tarzinski says, the brutal truth is a dumb term. Lying is lying. Lying is brutal. A great quote from Patrice. I get it. I don't even remember him saying that, but thanks for bringing that up, Daniel. And it is Tarzinski. Thank you, man. Shout out, bro. Yeah, it's let me see what Brian is saying in this. See what he says. Brian Lorenzo says, I've been so inconsistent. When I was doing the 5 bricks a day, things were going really well. No girl ever gave me a bad reaction from the compliments. No, I'm going to tell you why. There's a reason why nobody gave you CJ sent me $10 on the Cash App. Thank you so much. Thank you, CJ. You're the best. But the reason why you don't get a bad response is because it's coming from an honest place. See, it's not that women don't want you to talk to them. They just don't want you to be the kind of dirtbags that men have been for so long, lying and transactional. And you're talking to somebody, but you have an ulterior motive. And even if you have an ulterior motive, the ulterior motive means it doesn't say that you're not stating where you're coming from in the first place. If you're honest about where you're coming from in the first place, then women don't have a problem. You're giving them the option. But it's interesting. People have to learn. You would not think so, but people have to learn how to be honest. So when you're laying the 5 bricks, there's so many things that are in play. First of all, let me just say this. Phone number's up, 929-269-4922. Call up, ask me whatever. But the point of it is that there's a few reasons, and if I can explain this in the shortest way possible. The reason why you practice authenticity, credibility, and empathy is because it's so rare that people around that operate in that framework. We know that on every level of life that we family members, friends, politicians, everybody's lying and they're holding back and they're giving mistruths and all kinds of stuff. And so when you operate on a level of truth, right, it absolutely makes you a one of the rarest diamonds there is, because it's so rare that people operate in that. So that's the first thing. So when you learn to be honest, it's a weird thing, but by osmosis, just naturally, because you're telling the truth, you become more valuable. You become more valuable. You become more respected. You become more understood. People understand that what you say, you mean. The second part of the credibility is that if you say something and you make promises, and you're going to also show up, that's your credibility. But you also have the empathy to understand that other people are going through things and life happens. And once you have that balance, right? And once you have that real balance, then I think you can, you make yourself more valuable. You make yourself valuable in the eyes of other people. Not that you're worrying about how they value, but you're putting out the energy that you want to, and it comes from an honest place. That makes you valuable simply because it's so rare. Anybody in the chat, anybody that's listening, I guarantee you very rarely have a group. If I ask people to name people that are authentic, truthful, credible, and empathetic, all three of those categories, as you go through your friends, your family, and so on, you would be hard pressed to find many of them like that. It's funny, today I did a consultation. A guy said he has 5 friends that are all of those things. I kind of challenge that, but but I mean, he's a lucky dude. I've never in all the time that I've been doing consultation and helping dudes out, I'm lucky if they say that they have a friend who has 1 or 2 of those characteristics. So simply by the scarceness of righteous behavior, it makes you a commodity, which is what makes you more attractive. Secondly, the fact that you are honest is the thing that makes you attractive. Those things, if a woman cannot trust you, if she can't trust you as a whole, she can't find you attractive. And empathy wise, and I've said this on the show, every time a woman gives you access to her phone, address, goes out on a date, spends time with you, she has to consider if you might unalive her or essay her, right? And so just think about the core understanding of that every time that this is a ever-present film that lays over everything, over women's lives as a whole. And once you understand that, it makes sense why women act in emotional ways or irrational ways. If you had that if every time you went out on a date, you had to worry about getting essayed or graped, right? You would have a different perspective. Sometimes the Applebee's ain't that important if a guy's giving a creepy vibe. I'll pass on the free breadsticks and salad. You know what I mean? I just think it's for us not to recognize that at a core level, those things are important to women, and then thinking that we're going to approach them and have any level of success when we don't even know where they're coming from. If there's any fishermen out there, it depends on what you're fishing for. If you're fishing, there's some fish that you drop your line to the bottom, to the floor, and you drag it across the floor. There's some fish that swim midway from the top. There's some fish that swim at the top of the water. You have to know what you're fishing for in order to do that. And the only way, and if you want viable people women who are going to respect you and love you, have to start presenting yourself in that way first. It's It's a really interesting thing. Yeah, and Hunter, it's a crazy thing to think about that is a consideration. So when you get guys like, like Fresh and Fit and everybody's this bitch and that, this B and that B, it's like perspectively, you're not even considering what the situation is. It's the same thing I say about Fresh and Fit. If you take a bunch of bimbos, put them in a round table and ask them questions that they've never had to think about, right? At any given time, or they haven't had to think. I mean, you're setting up the situation. You're stacking the deck so that somebody says something stupid and then you can curse them out and throw them out. But none of that is productive. None of that is productive. That doesn't teach women to be accountable. It doesn't teach men how to act in the context of that. It's just all for nothing. So that's the first thing, part of it. The second thing of laying the 5 bricks is that everybody, like I've said this 100 times, you cannot operate in the presence of fear. You cannot let emotion have a seat at the table. If you allow emotion to have it, here's the best way to put it. When you're hanging out with your closest friends and you can relax and be who you are, that is when you are the most charming. When you're comfortable, when you're honest, when you have no fear, you're not worrying about being judged. That makes you the best version of yourself. Now, there's always a possibility that the best version of yourself could still be an asshole, but at least on a base level, you're presenting yourself in an honest way that somebody they know what's coming at them. They know the honesty that's coming at them. So that's the second thing. If the woman that you're pursuing or the woman that you're dating, if she can't trust you, how does she know when you say you love her? How does she know you mean it? When you say I got your back, how does she know you mean it if you're lying some of the time? You're asking her to do this Sherlock Holmes. Well, he says this, but he does that, but it's his he when he's not around me, he's this way. When he's not, that inconsistency makes you unattractive. It makes you creepy. It makes a woman feel uncertain. And there's nothing, and I've seen this 100 times myself. I'll drive with somebody, I'll be driving with some girl, and because she's comfortable with me, she'll cross her legs in the chair and sit in the chair like a little kid. It's because she feels comfortable. She feels safe. She's enjoying my company, and she feels safe in the context of me being there. I'm the cause of that safety, and that's the second part of the attraction. Now, don't get me wrong. You still got to be interesting. You still have to add a sexual element to it. There has to be a sexual element to it. But at the very least, you have to start with that. You have to understand that women are approaching this from a sky is falling perspective, and they have to, because it can happen. I think 1 in 4 women get SA'd at some point in time in their life. It's crazy. That's 25% of the women that you know. And depending on where you're at, maybe more percentage in per capita. But okay, this is an interesting question. Grift is out there saying, Daniel sent a question in. Daniel, I wish you'd have just called in and asked me this, but I'll handle it. Genuine question. Why do women like bad boys if they feel safety is paramount? Because, okay, so there's 3 elements to attraction. The first element is safety. The second element is attraction. You have to have attraction and safety in order for it to go to a physical attraction where it goes physical. Because attraction, right, without safety, right, means that the person likes you, but they don't trust you. So the attraction is there, but they don't feel as though they can trust, so they can't really let go. They can't really open themselves up to you on an emotional level, or an intimate level, or even a sexual level. It's just not gonna happen. Or if it does happen, because you're untrustworthy, or because your behavior is sporadic and not clear, they have buyer's remorse after if they do cross the line. There's always something in the back of their mind going, I'm not sure about this guy. So they like the bad boy, because what is the bad boy doing? The bad boy is very defined about his actions. I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna go there, I'm gonna do this, I don't care what anybody thinks. And that is what that's what builds the attraction. But if you don't have the trust, right, you'll have women who will just go, I just don't trust this guy enough to put myself in a position. And trust me, she is putting herself in a dangerous position. And so a lot of times they won't cross that line. And even when they are messing with bad boys or whatever, or what we would consider bad boys, they know that those dudes are full of shit. They just have decided that they're going to overlook the red flags in the first place. They see the red flags, but they don't respond to them. Why? Because ultimately they're letting their physical desire or their attraction or what's going on. And then sometimes you get women who absolutely are doing that with the intention of because of the fact that they feel like they deserve abuse. If you grow up in a situation where you grow up in a household that's abusive, or you're neglected, that is what you're accustomed to. So if you get a really nice guy that, yes, honey, no, honey, happy life, happy wife, happy life. Then what happens if you get a woman who's abusive? All she's going to do is take advantage of you, and then she's going to find you not attractive. Why? Because your comfort and the fact that you're such a pushover, and you're treating her better than she thinks she's worth. And if you treat her better than she thinks she's worth, she feels as though there must be something wrong with you, because in her head, subconsciously, she's saying, I know I ain't shit. How come you don't see I ain't shit? How come you don't notice that I'm not worth nothing? And if you think that
press 1.
If you think that I'm worth it and I don't have any self-worth, I'm gonna be like, something's wrong with you. What's your name? Where you calling from, brother?
Yeah, this is Daniel. You told me to call in, so I just want to.
Oh yeah, Daniel.
Call in and.
Oh, great.
Yeah.
Thanks for have you been on the live a couple of times before?
I've been in the chat, but I haven't called in. I just haven't had the time to. But
all right, so I was explaining the bad boy thing. Does that make sense to you?
It makes sense to me. I mean, people can be very self-defeating,
right?
Especially when, like you said, you're accustomed to that, that level of abuse. So I thought that was interesting that you paralleled that. If you're comfortable getting abused, then that is something that will be what you're attracted to. So I'm
going to hit you with something that's even crazier. If you're accustomed to toxic behavior, right? Somebody treating you better than you're accustomed to being treated. If you treat a girl better than she's accustomed to being treated, she will not only will she be abusive, but that is actually more painful to her than you treating her like shit. Because the normalization of her feeling as though, oh, okay, this is the world that I'm accustomed to. We used to use, Patrice and I used to use this analogy. It's this thing called brackish fish, right? There's a fish like African cichlids who live in Tanzania, and they come from a lake in Tanzania, and in that lake, that's the same water source, and the sewage runs through it, the fresh waters, everything runs through that. So those fish live in this toxic water. If you try and put those fish in clean water, they'll die. because their body has adapted to this kind of abuse or this kind of toxicity in the water. When you have those when you have those fish in a fish tank at home, you have to make sure that the pH level is high. There's also a salt element that has to be high, and you have to cultivate a bacteria in the water in order for the fish to live. So imagine that you grow up in a household that's super toxic. When somebody's treating you nice, initially you're like, wow, this is nice. I'm not used to this. But then you always revert back to what you were most comfortable with in the first place. So you'll find women who have been physically, I don't know if you've ever experienced where you're physically, women have been abused, and then you're in a relationship where they want to force you to be physical with them. And they'll push your buttons until they get there, you know? It's difficult.
Yeah, no, that's interesting, Dante.
Yeah, it's difficult if that's not what you're accustomed to, you can't imagine that somebody would want to be abused. But we see it all the time, you know? We all have
that's interesting.
Go ahead, I'm sorry.
Yeah, no, Dante, I just want to, it was just an interesting thing when you mentioned, women wanting safety, but then you see women who go with guys who are a little less safe.
Sure, yeah.
But, I just want all your listeners to, know that, like, you really know what you're talking about, Dante.
Thank you, brother.
Like, you should be way bigger than you are. And I want to put that out there for you because, like, you don't preach easy answers.
Yeah.
You know,
and we do it, and we're literally doing it, Daniel. I'm doing this on the fly. Anybody will tell you that they call in. I don't screen the calls. Whatever comes in, nobody's screening the calls saying, don't say this or don't say that. Whatever you got to ask me, I will have the debate. And I would be, I don't think I know everything, but what I know, you know?
No, Dante, your philosophy is very good because unlike a lot of people out there in the online space who are sadly a lot more successful than you, you don't preach easy answers.
Yeah.
Your system, if you can call it a system, but it's just do the work. It's be a better person, be a more interesting person, be the best version of yourself. Getting women is a skill. Yeah. And like any other skill, you got to practice it to get better at it.
Absolutely. And if you don't practice it, but you also have to clean out the inner stuff, because if you have low self-esteem and then all of a sudden you start doing the things that I say and then you start to get progress, what do ultimately? If you're used to losing, then you sabotage yourself. You find ways to sabotage it. On a subconscious level, this is happening. So I get it, man. I don't really speak it. I mean, I do sometimes, but I don't speak in T-shirts. The problems, emotional. I mean, there's so much nuance to social dynamics and sex and love and all of those constructs that you have to deal with it moment to moment, piece by piece. Yes, there are basic fundamental things like milestones and pillars that everything is built on. And I can always take you back that, but it takes a lot of time to be able to recognize what relates to what, if that makes sense,
No, it makes sense. And I want to add, Dante, I'm married because of, your teachings. And I feel like if my wife left me, I'd be fine dating if I needed to go out there.
And I'll tell you, and if you do the right thing, she won't leave you.
Yeah.
I would actually take that kind of credit that I've helped people build really great relationships because of honesty and because of, understanding what your worth is and understand. Because if you're telling a woman that that you're not worthy of something, she's gonna believe you.
And also, you said this a lot, Dante, on the podcast, that like you're putting in the work.
Yeah,
you're bulletproof.
Yeah.
You put in the work. You put in, not just on the work on like how to get women, which is, that's one thing, but like putting the work in your life.
Yeah, well, you're because you're doing it.
You want to be in your career, and
right.
It's not just it's all connected.
Yeah, and if you don't connect them, trust me, then you're not bulletproof. I appreciate you, Daniel. Thanks for calling, man. Please spread the word, brother.
Appreciate you,
please.
Dante.
All right, later. Cash App is up, y'all. Cash App is up. If y'all like what you're hearing, please hit us on the Cash App. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Phone lines are open, 929-269-4922. But so I think on a base level, initially, when you have no idea, and there's so many dudes who, are ashamed or angry at themselves because they can't perform at a level that they want to perform, or they don't have the success in relationships, or because and understand something. It's one of the first things I do is tell you, I make you forgive yourself for being inadequate. Understand what that means. What that means is when you say it out loud, you say, "Yeah, I forgive myself for being inadequate." And what happens is we hold ourselves to a standard that is not even reasonable. If nobody has taught you this, if nobody has sat down and taught you this, if you haven't practiced it, then how possibly could you be good at something that you haven't even practiced? It's ridiculous.
To accept, press 1. To send a voicemail, press 2.
What's your name? Where you calling from?
Oh, Dante, what's up? It's Derek.
What's up, Derek? How are you? Derek, have you called in? Is this your first time calling in?
Yeah, man, my very first time calling in.
All right. Thank you, brother. Thanks for calling in. Make sure this is not your last time. How can I help you, brother?
For sure, man. Love the show. Yeah, man, I didn't have too much of a question. I had more of a statement. I think you were hitting it the nail on the head with a couple of things you were just saying. I think the issue with men is we refuse to accept the world in which it is, right, with women, right? Like women have social media. That's not going anywhere. Women have options, right? Women can get an education, and women can get these high-paying jobs, so they're going to practice hypergamy. And I think so many men fail because they want the old world to exist where
but I'm going to tell you something. I'm going to tell you something. Unless we're going back to the 40s and the 50s where women had no options at all. I mean, women have had options for quite some time now. Don't get me wrong. There's definitely a situation where there's women have more rights and more options than they do now. But it doesn't matter. Because
agreed. No, I'm agreeing with you.
Yeah, I'm just saying it doesn't. Whether they believe it or not, it doesn't matter. There were guys back in the 20s and the 40s and the 50s and the 80s, guys who was simping back then. There's always been hoes, right, pimps, and simps. That's never changed. It's probably never going to change. You're always going to have a situation where there are dudes who don't understand what their value is. There are a million. I mean, I've said this at least 100 times. I can't tell you how many multi-millionaires I've met that are straight simps, people who are famous. And I've said this before, that whole Kendrick Lamar Drake thing is directly related to the fact that all of these rappers are smashing the same 20 chicks, passing them around because they have no respect. I mean, back in the days when I was stripping, I would be like, yo, it was so many chicks around. It was like I'd be like, yo, you could rock with me. And I don't even care if we're not together, but you can't rock with me and sleep with my friends too. Because I didn't think that they were of my caliber. And if you believe that you have no standards and no caliber, then that's fine. But then I'm also not going to talk to you. You can go to him. It's fine.
Right.
And it's interesting that just the fact that you hold yourself at a higher standard makes people, because I've said this 100 times. Women do not. How does a woman know who you are? You tell her.
Right.
You maybe don't tell her verbatim, vocally, but you tell her in every situation possible. You you in the way you walk, the way you stand, how you move, the cadence of your voice, the conviction you have in the things that you say, whether or not you tell the truth, whether or not you tell her everything she needs to know. And if you don't have a level of a high level of self-esteem, then you're going to represent yourself as somebody who has no value. And guess what? She's going to believe you. I just counseled somebody last month, a guy, and when I say this dude is a like, he would check all the boxes. In shape, 6-pack, martial arts, more than 6 figures, good looking dude. He's half Filipino, half white or half black, and so he even is exotic. He's drives a Benz, but had a beautiful wife, and basically kept telling her that he was worthless until she believed him and stepped out on him. He literally forced her out of it. She kept saying, because he just kept saying, "I'm not this, I'm not that. I know I'm not this. I know you could get better." And after a while, guess what? After a while, people start to believe you. So, I appreciate you calling in, fam. Is there anything else you wanted to say?
Man, I love you and the show, dude. And
man, thank you. I love you back, bro. I love you back.
All right.
Thanks for calling in. I'm trying to make this so it doesn't ring while I'm talking. Yeah, phone lines are open. 929-269-4922. It's such a self-fulfilling thing. And so on a base level, you have to, the attraction in general, it starts with the fact that you have a level of self-worth, a healthy level of self-worth. Secondly, that you don't let emotion have a seat at the table. How do you do that? Simply with the repetition of laying the 5 bricks, get you comfortable talking. It's not like you're putting yourself in an uncomfortable situation that you can't, that you ultimately are uncomfortable with, which brings on uncertainty and fear of rejection and so on and so forth. And the only way you can beat that is just through exposure therapy, that you socially connect with people, not on a sexual level, but just socially connect with people and talk to people with the level of frequency that you're not afraid, so that you can put forth the best version of yourself. And if you can't do that, women especially, their intuitive ability, the way that they see patterns, the way that they because they have to be aware of a situation that seems fishy, that could create a situation where they could end up in danger. So they see it. So even when you get a girl and she'll deal with a guy with a guy who is absolutely a red flag, understand she's doing that on purpose. She's doing that on purpose. She's overlooking that on purpose. I know a guy who was like, I won't mention his name, he was a comic friend of mine, but he was always did great with girls, always got girls, good looking guy, whatever. But had a Dre, what's up, bro? Thank you for the Cash App, bro. $19.99. Thank you, bro. For the wise words with your last call. I appreciate you, Dre. Thank you so much. There's a clear situation where I know this guy who like had a wife and kids. Wife would have done anything for him. Did it, and he was drunk all the time, late all the time, cheating all the time, and then she ended up divorcing him. I think he had a couple of kids, maybe 2 or 3 kids, I forget. But what he did was he ended up hooking up with this young girl who just gave him the business. Who I really feel like he felt that he had disrespected his wife so much that he deserved what this young girl was giving him. And this girl was he was in his 40s, she was in her 20s, and she was giving him the business every chance she got, fighting and yelling and throwing stuff at him and calling him names and going through his phone. And he seemed to love it because of the fact that I really feel like he felt guilty because of the way that he treated his wife in the time when he was married. And I mean, he had a beautiful wife, was just great with the kids and worshiped the ground, but he just went to the well so many times. Not only did he go to the well so many times, he probably still could have reconciled the marriage if he wanted to, but he was looking for some, he was looking to get paddled. He was looking to get broke down, and he sure enough did. Now he's with this toxic chick, and I guess he's happy. I mean, at least I would say happy in the context of I got what I deserved, and it's just weird to me. But I do understand that people's perspective about how you don't want to shoplift the pussy. If you feel like if you want to be a stand-up guy and you haven't been, you will seek out the punishment that you think you deserve. It's crazy that subconsciously, no matter how much you say you want this and you want that, you will seek out abusive people to abuse you so that you can feel comfortable about how you perceive it. It has to match up. And if it doesn't match up, then you do things to match up to even the score. You don't want to feel like somebody who's stealing. It's a weird thing. Now, don't get me wrong. There's absolutely always exceptions to the rule. There's psychopaths and sociopaths that don't even have that guilt thing at all. There's always the exceptions to the rule, but overall, people who are normal or at least attempting to operate in the normal world, this is a standard pattern of what you see. You see abusive people that have been raised in abusive environments will consistently put abusive people around them because it makes them feel like it's home sweet home. My wife is cussing me out, going through my phone, throwing stuff at me, hitting me. Oh, this is perfect. This feels like I'm 8 years old back at my house, living on bunk beds with my brother. You know what I mean? It's a weird thing. But laying the 5 bricks, without a doubt, is the first step of removing all that stuff. It's introspective. It is, and it's such a simple thing. I say it's simple, but it's not easy. And I get this all the time where dudes will go, oh, I laid the 5 bricks for like not 5 every day. No, well, like 2 or 3. And my response every time is, if you did not do it, the only person that you're fooling is yourself. If you want to lose weight, if you want to go to the gym and you want to look better naked or whatever, with your shirt off or whatever, if you don't go to the gym, it ain't gonna happen. And I don't have a problem with the fact that you don't care about that or that's not important to you. I'm just saying, if you're not doing something about this, you don't get to. Real quick, Jeff Cohen, thank you so much, bro. Thank you for the Cash App, $5 from Jeff Cohen. I love you, brother. Thank you so much. But if you're in a situation where you have an objective and and it's been mapped out what you need to do to achieve the objective and you don't, I'm not even judging that. I'm not judging the fact that you may choose to be different or not. I'm just saying you don't get to complain about it. If you're not doing direct work to fix it, you don't get to complain about it. You don't get to mope. When things don't go your way, shut up and take it. This is the bed you made. Now sleep in it. But I always say this over and over again. The greatest thing in the world about being a sucker is tomorrow you don't have to be. You could change that immediately. Now, just because you change it, doesn't mean if you have a reputation of being, full of it, nobody's just going to change the way they perceive it. It's going to take time to do that. Whereas and it's real easy to have people think bad of you. It's hard to remove that once you once you have put that in there. So there's that, but that's not the point. You're not doing it. You can't do it for the gaze or the view of other people. You got to do it internally, because if you're doing it internally for yourself because you know it's the right thing to do and it makes you the best version of yourself, ultimately what you can do is you start to build confidence. Phone lines are open, 929-269-4922. Let me see. Anthony Drassus is here in the chat. Syncope Bain, what up? Eric Penaranda, and Diamond DJ. What's going on? Anyway, so there's that. So, and I've talked about lying, the different levels of lying. It's not necessarily the malicious lying, but it's the lie. It's the little white lies that those things wear away at your credibility. I tell a story about the fact that I was heading back from overseas. I was across the pond in the UK, and I was flying back, and a friend of mine called me and asked me if he could pick him up, if he could pick me up from the airport. And I was like, nah, I already took a cab. I already jumped in a cab, and I was on my way home. And I hung up the phone. I said, I'll call you when I settle in. And I called him right back, and I said, hey, remember I said I was taking a cab? He goes, yeah. I go, well, I'm not taking a cab. I'm taking an Uber, right? Now, it was weird to him that I would make that distinction, right? Because what difference does it make? Cab, Uber. Well, that's how much me telling the truth is. That I won't even mislead you in terms of the things that don't matter. So guess what my friends think about me? They think that that if I won't even let the little things go, guess what I'm gonna do about the big things? That there's no way, no shape or form where they feel as though I'm not the guy who's going to tell the truth, because I do it to the extreme of even when it seems not to matter, but it does matter. Think about that. Think about the fact that somebody calls back and corrects themselves about something that you don't even care about. You go, well, what difference does it make? But in your head, you will remember, wow, truth is so important to this person that they wouldn't even let that go. Another thing is, I don't believe anything unless I have evidential proof. If you don't have proof, if I don't have the research, I'm not going to open my mouth. I would rather say I don't know. Spend a few minutes doing some research and finding out from cross-referencing sources and things. But people don't have a basic fundamental idea of what reasoning and how to make decisions and to discern what's truthful. When we talk about that, we're talking about there's a $5 word called epistemology. Epistemology is your ability, the process or your ability to discern things that are true from things that are false. Nothing can be 100% certain all the time. But what we do is we cross-reference and we discern what is the most likely and the most probable thing that to believe, and then we go with that until, of course, we get new information. If we get new information, that might change the perspective. But you got to be open-minded to that, as opposed to having a belief system and then back-ended or gerrymandering your way backwards into the position that you already had. If I believe something, I'm going to try to disprove it. I want to disprove my own theory, because if I do it, then it doesn't leave space for anybody else to do it. So there's another aspect of the attraction is when I've talked about this a lot when I talk about non-transactional. being in a situation where I'm approaching you with, I'm not trying to trick you into something or sidebar you into, or I'm not trying to sell you something. Most guys, most of the time when a guy speaks to a woman, he's talking to her transactionally. He's trying to get her number. He's trying to get laid. He's trying to take her out. He's trying, whatever is on his mind. He's trying to, he has something in mind. And if you think that she's not aware of what's going on or what's not going on, she is. This is like when you hear women say, "Oh, this is my male friend," and there's some guy who's just waiting to jump out the bushes and lay her head on his lap, you know, with a raging boner. You know what I mean? It's just like, it's not that she's not aware of that. How could a woman not be aware of the fact that somebody finds what she's saying? If she's saying he's my friend, she's either being deceptive or she's saying, I don't even respect this guy enough to give him some. Now that could change, but the point is, what she's saying is, he's just not even a viable entity. He showed himself to be weak. And a lot of times he showed himself to be weak by hanging around, being dishonest, by hanging around and saying, oh, I'll be your friend, when the intention is something else. He's trying to get the drawers, but meantime, he's being your friend just so that one day you wake up and go, oh, well, yeah, I mean, he's a nice guy. That very rarely happens. I'm not going to say it doesn't happen ever, because I know guys that have gotten some pity gooch, but it trust me, that's going to be a one and done. Unless you're a dude who potentially doesn't know how to, like, you're so much more than you appear to be. But nobody wants you begging for somebody. I remember it was a dude, I was a comic that I was consulting. I don't know, this was maybe 8 years ago. And I remember I was with his girlfriend at the comedy club, and he called. And when he called, she was like, oh God, here we go. And soon as I saw her do that, I was like, oh, this relationship is over, and he don't even know it. If she's aggravated by the fact that he's calling her, right, or he's calling so much because he's insecure, he wants to make sure that she's doing, he's basically, he's telling her, I'm not worthy of this relationship. Please don't leave me. If I watch her enough, if I pay attention enough, if I do enough, then maybe she won't leave me. If I could just prove to her. And what you really have to do is present yourself in a way that is valuable enough that nobody will, why would a woman ever leave that? And what you'll have is, you'll still have situations where women, like I said before, if somebody comes from a toxic background, they will absolutely screw up their own life, because they don't want it to be good. They don't think they deserve love and happiness. And so you have to learn, well, on a base level, you just got to learn the basic fundamentals, which is to be able to talk non-transactionally. And let me explain the technical aspect of non-transactional. Let's say I have a business and you have a business, and we're sitting at a bar. Let's say you have a law firm, I have a paper company. And we're sitting next to each other, and I go, hey, how you doing? We're watching the game or whatever. And after a while, I buy you a drink, you buy me a drink. We shake, hey, how you doing? What's your name? We introduce ourselves. And they go, what line of business you in? And I say, oh, I own a paper company. And then I say, I own a paper company. I work in New York City, and I supply a lot of the major law firms with paper. This guy goes, oh, really? I swear, I own a law company. And, I've been having a problem with my paper guy. So maybe we could do some business. Maybe we could, come up, you got a card, and we exchange cards, and then maybe that following week we talk, and maybe we make a deal or we don't make a deal. That situation is the best case scenario for me to sell something that I don't, I had no intention on selling, as opposed to me showing up cold at your law firm and say, hey, I'm Dante Nero from Amalgamated Paper, and I'd like to see the owner to see if I could talk to them for 15 minutes. Basically what I'm saying is I'm trying to drum up some business. So what are you going to say if I'm calling you? You're going to say, tell him to make an appointment. Even if you need a paper guy or you need the resources, you're going to tell him, hey, tell him to make an appointment and come back, and then we'll sit down and talk. Because the situation was the second scenario is transactional, as opposed to the first scenario where it's not transactional. So if I'm paying you a compliment and I'm in a honest space, right? And you say thank you, and I keep it moving, and there's no pressure for her because you're trying to get the number or try to get the panties or whatever. You just paying a compliment and you're moving. Her defenses instantly drop because she can tell that you are not sweating her. You're not. This is not the most important thing. You objectively have a direction and a focus that doesn't include her. So you're not going, please, you're not pleased if you just would kind of maybe if you're not doing nothing, maybe if you're not busy one day, maybe you might want to go for a drink or something. If it's okay, maybe shucks. Nobody finds that attractive. Whereas a guy who has things going is going to say, listen, I'm free on Wednesday. You would like to take you out for a drink at 7:00. There's a real distinct difference in that, because in one situation is transactional and then one party is needy and the other party is in power. You create a power structure that you and likely a lot of times you can't overcome. And to be honest, nobody deserves to put them to be in that power structure, especially not the guy. If I have to pursue you, if I have to ask you out, if I got to pay for the meal, if I got to pay for the transaction, if I got to set up the date, if I socially have to keep the conversation going, how are you doing me a favor? Because you're and I'm not I'm not saying that the situation is wrong, that you shouldn't pay for the bill or whatever. I'm just saying this is the situation that we're dealing with. It has to be dealt with. We need to be honest with ourselves that the situation that we're dealing with it's an honest perspective. So I'm doing all of this to get to know you, to create a situation, to build attraction, and then you think somehow I need to do that and more to prove to you that I'm worthy? That's crazy. That is so crazy. It just doesn't make sense. It's like, why would you treat yourself like that? And if you're with a woman and you and she's unappreciative, stop giving her. Stop doing more. Nobody gets. I mean, and this is not just women. If you take a kid, and he's got a rich daddy, and his daddy buys him an AMF BMW. 600 horsepower, 700 horsepower. He is going to wrap that car around a tree. Not because that's what his intention is. It's because he does not care. There is no value in something that you don't earn. If you're just going to give it away, your time is valuable. Your energy is valuable. Who you deal with should matter. Who you don't deal with even matters more. The fact that you may perceive somebody as not being viable because you know what your own worth, your own self-worth. And the only way you're going to know what your own self-worth and build that worth is through hard work, is through being the best version of yourself. You got to do the work. And I don't care where you're at. I don't care if you're a 16-year-old kid who's getting up and doing push-ups every day and works at the corner supermarket, right? Or if you're a six-figure money management guy, or if you're Drake. I just watched this thing where Drake is screw facing some dude at some basketball player. I don't know if anybody saw that. The NBA, he's screw standing on the side, like screw facing the not even the whether or not he can take him is not even the point. The point is that this dude is a multi-millionaire. What is he going to do? Scrap in the arena on TV? He's a millionaire. The childishness of this is absurd. It's absurd that you would even lower yourself to that. You're a clown. What are you doing? You're supposed to be above the fray. Here's the crazy thing is all this stuff with Diddy going on, and everybody knows that is attached to it. Jay-Z's attached to it, but you don't see him yapping. He's not messy. Got a call. Let me get this.
To accept, press 1.
Yo, what's up? What's your name? Where you calling from?
Accept, press 1.
Yo, Dante, you want me to turn the volume off, right? I'm assuming.
Of course.
All right, what's good, bro?
What's going on, baby? How you?
Chilling, man.
Where you calling from, dog?
Connecticut.
Okay. How can I help you, bro?
Dude, you don't need
Hold
to
on
help
real
me.
quick. John Tennant, thank you for the $50 cash app. Thank you so much, brother. I appreciate you. I love you. Thank you for supporting us.
Facts. Go ahead.
What's up, baby? How can I help you?
Yo, I don't need no help. I'm just calling in to say what up. You know what I'm saying? Rest in peace, Patrice. I've been watching you for a long time. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I missed that, dude. I always say
I got stories, but I'm not gonna tell them all and clog up your line tonight. But you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But I called in to say what up. You know what I mean? And I'm like, yo, why you endorsing Camila, bro? Come on.
Why you? I mean, if you want to have this conversation, we'll have it. I mean, I'm getting ready to shut this down in another 15 minutes, but I'll have it. Can I ask you, why would you not?
What?
Why would you not support her?
Why would I not support her?
Yeah.
She put black people in jail. That's one thing.
Okay.
And I'm not black.
Now, wait a minute. Did you research that?
Yeah, I did.
No, you didn't. How many people went to jail under Kamala Harris? Under that bill that they're talking about? How many people? In your opinion?
That's not important to me, Don.
Yes, it is important. How many people went to jail?
Oh.
I
said I do not know.
Okay, but you understand that this is just the Wyatt Christian. No, it's not 1K. But that's the rumor that she put thousands of black men in jail. You cannot have an opinion about something that you haven't researched. And when you have an opinion, and this is not just Kamala, this is just anything. If you haven't done intricate research on this, right? Then why do you have an opinion about it?
All right, I'm gonna ask you this then.
Wait a minute. Do you know how many people went to jail under that bill that they're talking about under the marijuana bill? Do you have a number?
Yo, she put nobody in jail.
That's not true. She's okay.
Who would want a woman to lead them?
Okay, if you're thinking that does a woman not lead your house? Does she not take care of your kids? Does she not make sure that your kids are taken care of? This is an absurd answer, but I need you to answer the question. No.
Oh, I'm paying 3x on everything. What you talking about?
Say that again.
I said I'm paying 3x on everything in the economy.
Okay, now wait a minute. Let's deal with the first thing. How many black men did she put in jail?
I don't know, nor do I
Okay,
care.
so do me a favor. When you get off the phone today, I need you to Google that, right? And then tell me what is it compared to what was said and what was actually true. First of all, she only sent what?
Relevant. Important to me.
What'd you
Not
say?
important to me. And Joe Biden, Jim Crow Joe, fuck Trump too. Fuck that motherfucker.
Okay. This is, you're all over the place. And this is exactly what I'm saying is, I can't respect your opinion because you have nothing to back it up. I don't have a problem having a discussion with you. Do you understand that? And I'm not trying to be disrespectful, but if you haven't researched this and you don't have facts about this, you don't have facts, statistics, and evidence, then your opinion means nothing. And I want you to understand that the connection I'm making with this. That is a lack of credibility. Wait a minute, let me finish. I'm going to tie it into together with Man School 202. If you have an opinion and you don't have facts, evidence, and proof, and you haven't researched this extensively, then you should not have an opinion. Thank you, Sterling. It was 45 people. It was not thousands. It was not 1,000. It was 45 people. And the 45 people that she sent, she was putting them in a program so that they could be released earlier by shortening their time, by doing that, like, I forget what they call it, like that boot camp type thing, so she could get them out. Now the understanding is that the narrative was that
2011, 10 in 2012. This is correct. Actually, 863 in 2011, 254 in 2012.
How many people did she put in jail for? The whole thing is huh?
The shit. I looked into it like one time, and then I just.
How many people went to jail under her under that bill with the marijuana, with weed? It's 45 people, dog.
In hashish possession, 46 in 2011.
How many people went to jail?
Not more than 45.
45. 45 is the number.
46 in 2011.
No. 40 under that bill, she personally put 45 people in jail. This is the narrative. So here's
2,000 people. Hold on, 1,974 during that period. This website later published correction pointed to a fact check by the San Francisco Chronicle. Like, dude, I don't give a shit about this. So,
but this is my point. You should give a shit about it.
State prisons for marijuana. Listen.
But I'm saying
I've never had a woman leave me. I've never had a woman leave me. So I don't even care about these statistics.
Okay.
To be honest with
all right.
you.
Well, then we don't need. Then we can't have this. We can't have this conversation.
As a man to a woman.
I'm going to say something to you.
If you got a check, I don't care. Don't tell me, and let's talk about the bitch. Back.
Wait, I can't hear you. I didn't hear what you said.
You just heard what I said.
No, I didn't. That's why I'm asking you.
If you got a check from her, then you should be endorsing her. I would do the same. The price is at 3x on it.
This is what I'm saying to you. You said three different things.
So I love you, man, and I love
you too. But there's look. I appreciate you calling in, and I don't mind. Like I said, I don't mind having this conversation. And if this was something that I didn't research, I would change my mind. But I will tell you this.
I got AFP fact check right in front of me right now.
Yeah, and what is it? It's 40. The number's 45, dog. The number's 45.
That's not the reason. I would, if she did that. That's not the reason. I would.
But let me say. But you can. Here's what I want to say to you. You came on the call. You said, "Come on, why she put all these people in jail?" Right? Is that what you said?
Right.
Now that is incorrect. So if you're basing the premise on the fact that she put all these people in jail, let me finish the point. Let me finish the point. Huh?
I said, go ahead.
So if you come online and you say why was this the case? Because she put all these black men in jail, right? The first thing you should do is make sure that the numbers that they're giving you, right, are correct. You can't say to me, I give you a different number, right? Okay, here it is. Somebody just put it. Harris office oversaw 1,956 marijuana convictions, both misdemeanors and felonies. Despite this, they only 45 individuals were ultimately sentenced to prison. So so you have all, and let's be honest. You realize weed is not legal, right? And she is a prosecutor. My point is, if you set the premise up and you say she put all these black men in jail for marijuana, that's why I'm not voting for her. And then I show you that that's not what happened, right? Then your reasoning falls apart. Now, if you want to say the inflation is fucked up, eggs cost too much, I'll take that too. The question is, does Kamala Harris, as a vice president, is she responsible for inflation on food? Was there a pandemic? What was going on? There was a pandemic. There was a supply chain. There are others. America, huh?
Did you take the shot, Dante?
Did I do what? Yeah, I took it. Yeah, I took it.
Yeah, how's it doing for you?
I'm fine.
Well, yeah, my dad's dead, my mother's crippled, and a lot of other people are fucked up from it. So, this is my opinion.
Yeah, I'm just saying, if you're gonna have let me say something. There's a level when we talk about credibility, right? When we talk about credibility, you cannot. What you're doing is you're taking these anecdotal situations, you're being emotional about it, and you're not really researching it, and you're not building a logical house, a logical step to why you have your opinion. And what do I say?
Let me explain something to you. Every real man that I know in this motherfucking world fucking thinks that bitch is crazy.
I don't care.
So,
I don't care whatever you.
I don't. As a talking point.
I don't care. I don't care what every man, woman, or otherwise thinks. I'm going to do my own research, and I can't let you move the goalposts. Well, she sent all these people to jail. Oh, the eggs are too low. She. And then it ultimately comes down. Yo, she's a bitch. That's why I'm not listening to her.
Inflation.
All I'm saying to you is that none of your argument pans out.
Every fucking day, and then people in the hood are fucking poor. I'm not in the hood. I'm in the fucking woods, so I'm not really worried about. I got my own eggs.
Listen,
if you get my.
Listen to me. Listen. Let me give you an example. You're dating. Let me say again.
Why you in person? That's all.
What happened?
I didn't call you to talk about Kamala Harris.
I know that, but you threw it at me. Right?
Because I've always looked up to you as like a father figure.
Well, I appreciate that, brother. But I'm also not. You understand that I'm not being disrespectful to you. I'm having a conversation with you, and I'm telling you something that you need to understand.
I got you.
Okay, so let me explain. And this is not specifically about Kamala. What I'm saying is everything that you believe, right? You should have evidential proof to believe it. That is the base stone of the principles on this show, which is authenticity, credibility, and empathy. Credibility is also, as well as you doing what you say and saying what you do, that you just don't say something unless you've done extensive research on it, that you could stand on it. Do you understand why that's important?
Yeah, of course.
Okay, so what I'm saying is, if you say,
if I want to call this shit up and then call your show, I was working. Bro, I'm busy, bro. I ain't got time to worry about that. I was just like,
I want you. I'm going to say one thing to you, and then I'm
my whole life.
I'm going to say something to you.
Got me through bad relationship breakups and shit. Like,
Dog,
what?
Do you understand that this is? I'm not going at you. Do you understand that?
Yeah, I got you.
So I want you to understand something. In order for what you say to have gravity, to have weight, right? You have to be careful about what you put your name on or what you say, right? Because if you have proof, if you a dude that always speaks truth, right? Then nobody will ever question what you say because you will have a reputation that you're speaking from a position of evidence and confidence, right? So when you say, I don't care about this, I don't have a problem if you say, I don't care about this. I do have a problem if you say, I don't care about this, and then I ask you specific questions and you don't have answers because you didn't research it. Do you understand what I'm saying? And I'm not saying this.
The reason why Camila lost the presidency, she couldn't answer anything.
That's not true.
Like
That's not true. That's not true. That's just not true.
That's not true. That's what society's saying.
No, I don't care. Yeah, listen.
I could give a shit about what fucking society says.
You a white? Are you a white dude or a black dude?
I'm white.
Okay.
I'm
Do
white.
you think that racism exists in this country?
Hell no.
You don't think there's no racism in this country?
Oh yeah, but not for me.
No, I'm not talking about you. I'm saying, D, look, I love you, dog, but you got to listen to what I'm asking you. Okay?
Racism?
All right. I'm asking you, do you wait?
My family has farms and the government stole it. Okay. I'll give you. Blow. You ever watch the movie Blow? You ever watch?
Yes.
What's her name? Monica. Not. Excuse me for a second. Martha Stewart.
Yeah.
She went to jail.
Yeah, she went for insider trading. Yes.
That was my fucking farmland.
That was your what?
Jail. Farmland.
Okay.
From the 19th.
All right. But
and I'm white. So you talking about fucking racism? There it is, right there.
Okay, can I ask you something? Do you think racism exists in America?
Of course.
Okay.
But not from us.
Wait a minute. That's not what I'm just answer the question I'm asking you. That's all I'm asking. I'm not coming at you. I want you to understand I respect you and I appreciate you. And I appreciate the love you've given me. And I'm just like if this was a situation about a chick, a relationship or something, I would give you the same evidence and the same policy and way I handle it, right? Yeah. Do you think that there's sexism in this country?
Yeah, of course.
Okay. And how do we know that? We know that at some point in time, Social Security, like something, for instance, like Social Security was not available to Black people, right? Up until 1965, because when they passed Social Security and welfare during the Great Depression, the Southern Democrats, they were the Democrats at them, but this was like before the policy switched. The Southern Democrats said to LBJ, I will pass the Green Deal for Social Security, Medicaid, Medicare, and welfare to bail people out after the stock exchange, as long as it's not available to Black citizens. It wasn't until 1965, right, that after Martin Luther King, that Social Security welfare was even available to Black people, because it was only available to white people, codified by law. Okay, did you know that?
Yeah, of course.
Did you also know that at some point in time that women were not allowed to own property? Did you know that?
That's easy, bro.
Okay, did you also know that at one point in time, you could beat your wife. It was legal to beat your wife with a stick.
Yeah, you be able to beat them now. No, I'm joking, but you know what I'm saying.
I get what you're saying. So what I'm saying is, these are, so if for us to think that this
I'm
has
joking.
that people didn't vote for her because she was a woman, and it didn't vote for her because she was a black woman, when you have a guy who was convicted of rape. Understand, and I shouldn't say rape because I don't want to get canceled, but Trump was convicted of rape.
Fuck the Republicans, fuck the Democrats.
That's not what I'm saying. We have a binary choice.
I got a crib right now, right? That I got for like 200 and something thousand. It's worth over $500,000, like under Trump. Okay, and I'm not even coddling for him or whatever. I'm not fucking capping for him or whatever the fuck you want to call it. I got 3 motherfuckers right now that are my boys calling me. I'm having trouble with my woman. I got rooms, empty rooms. You know what I'm saying? Like.
Understand something, but understand something. All of that is anecdotal.
Fuck Camila too, or Kamala, whatever the fuck her name is.
I can't. I mean, look. I listen. All I'm saying, I gotta let you go because I'm gonna shut it down. But I want to say something. I want to say something to you. I want to say I respect you, bro. I appreciate the support, and I love you to death. I want you to understand. I want you to keep calling and stuff. We just have a difference of opinion. You understand?
Yeah, no, it's fine. It's cool. I like that shit. I like the discourse. You know
all right,
what I mean? It's fine.
I appreciate you. All right.
Fine. Listen, bro. I love your message to the men, man.
I appreciate you, brother. I appreciate you.
All right.
All right, brother. Good night, man. Good night.
A little bit and we'll be cool. All right.
All right. I'm getting it in right now. All right. So here's the thing, Apple Hoop Jack. No, Trump was not convicted of rape, but in order for him to be convicted of the defamation character, she said that he raped her. He said that he didn't. So in order for her to get the 5 million and then the 33 million, they had to prove that what she said what was true. So when I say he was adjudicated sexual offender / rapist, because in order for her to get the defamation character money, they had to prove what she was saying, that what she was saying was true and what he was denying wasn't. And so what the question is, what was she stating that happened in the dressing room in Lord and Taylor? That she got sexually assaulted. So the statute of limitations had already passed because she was old. She was young then. She's an old chick now. But what she had to do was she had to prove that what she was saying in her book, that Donald Trump raped her in a dressing room, they had to prove that. And in order for him to have to pay $83 million, Diamond DJ, thank you for calling in. They had to prove that. I don't want to get into this because the political thing is just not what I'm doing. But what I want to understand, what I want Diamond and everybody else to understand, you cannot have an opinion unless you have somebody. Unless you have researched and you've proven and cross-referenced this is part of credibility. Understanding that you have to have stuff behind it to believe it. Now, I don't have a problem if we have a difference of agreement. I'm just saying, I'm just saying that you have to have evidence to say this is why I believe that. And I don't have a problem. I'm not angry. I disagree with some people about certain things, and you all know that. Anybody who's on this live, I'm willing to have the discussion. I will open a discussion. We'll talk about the facts. And if there's something that I don't know, or you know that I don't know, I absolutely don't have a problem with you educating me. That's what we should do as men. We should do as men. We should do the research. I don't care what your thing is. We might even we might look at the research and look at the truth and come up with different, and that's okay. I'm just saying when you say something I'm questioning. I'm not fighting with you. I'm saying that's not my understanding. This is what my understanding is. And I don't have a problem with you coming at me telling me, hey, this is what I think. I'm gonna ask you why. But if you can't go, Kamala locked a bunch of black dudes up, I question that, and you go, yo, I don't care about that. Then you go, yo, I made money on yeah, I don't care. Yeah, but you understand there was a pandemic and there was this and there's a lot of reasons. Then and you go, yo, I don't care about that. And then you ultimately land on she's a bitch. If that was the case, if you wanted to come on here and say, yo, I didn't vote for her because she's a bitch, right? You can have that opinion. I'm not telling you how you're supposed to have that opinion. I'm just saying, let me present what I have to say. You present one, and we'll see where we are. Because I could be wrong. But I'll tell you what, I'm not gonna open my mouth and then move the goalposts every time somebody rebuttals me. I'm gonna take in what they're saying. I'm gonna check their facts, and then that's what you have to do as men. That's part of ACE. That's the C in ACE, is credibility. This exactly, Hunter. It was feeling based. It was a feeling. As a man, you cannot, what do I say this 100 times? Never let emotions have a seat at the table. You can't say this and move to this and then it comes out, well, she's a bitch. Come on, it's corny. It's just corny. It's a corny thing to do. You sound weak. It makes you sound weak. We have to have an epistemology. We have to have a way in which we discern what is true and what's false. That's everybody. And we can have discourse and a difference of opinion, but it has to be fact-based. And that goes for anything. That goes, if you want to have the argument about who's better, Michael Jordan or LeBron, dog, you still got to have, you need stats. You need proof, because I'm not going to believe you. And we can have a difference of opinion, but we need to have a difference of opinion based in truth. And we need to have a discussion, good faith. I mean, things don't get crazy because I don't give that kind of energy. And I'm not being disrespectful, but you can't tell me you feel this way, and then I ask you why, and you don't have a reason why. That's anything. Y'all have seen me have guys on here who tell me, my girl don't respect me, and then as we go deeper into it, we find that he's not a respectable dude. He lied, he cheated, he stole. He's not working to be the best. Y'all see me do this on air. If I'm lying, I'm dying. It's crazy. And if it's just that a fact, like, I mean, we don't have competent female doctors. I mean, if you was shot somewhere and a female doctor was pulling the, I mean, are we saying nah, give me a man? Come on, it's corny, dog. That's emotional. But this is the problem. This is not just the problem with him or with anybody. What I'm saying in general, we don't have a way in which we discern truth, and we're not willing. We're too lazy to actually do the research. And I don't have a problem with that. But then just say you don't know and don't have an opinion on it. Because you don't know. And that's not a bad thing. I don't know everything. I try to know as much as I can. And the more that I know, I realize how much I need to know. Anyway, credibility, dog. Credibility. Can't spell ACE without credibility. Yo, I love y'all, man. I've been on way too long. But I appreciate him calling in because it kind of woke me up. Don't forget, y'all know the consultations is on DanteNero.com. I'm gonna put that up. DanteNero.com, one-on-one, DanteNero.com. Click on consult. Don't forget to the Patreon, please sign up for the Patreon. It's the best way to support the show. Patreon.com/manschool202. And don't forget to like and subscribe. I appreciate y'all, man. I love y'all, man. Thank y'all for the spirited conversation. Thank you for the comments. Thank you for the questions. I love y'all, man. I love hanging out with y'all. I'll see y'all Tuesday. All right. Peace.